Today, the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett premiered on Disney Plus, and here are my thoughts. Fantastic start to this series. I thought the way they did the exposition was very well done. It gave us all the backstory and information we needed in the first 10 minutes about how Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc pit, and there were little flashbacks as to how he's gotten where he is now that were well done. The show feels very classic Star Wars, and we're getting to kind of learn a little bit more about Boba Fett, sort of his moral code. You know, because apart from, 5 lines in the original trilogy, and then a couple episodes where you see him as a kid in Clone Wars, we don't really know that much about him, so we do get to learn a little bit more about him and how he's basically saying, Jabba was the previous ruler, and he was very ruthless. Jabba was horrible. He killed people for fun. He enslaved women as trophies. He tortured people. He did all these horrible things. But now that I'm the new ruler, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put a fresh start on Tatooine. I want to be respected, not feared. And so even though he's the new crime lord, he's the new head honcho of Tatooine, he's going to try and fix the problems of Tatooine instead of, asserting his power. And it does give him a bit more humanity and humility. So it makes him very likable. He doesn't even let his Gamorrean guards, that he also showed mercy to, as well. They captured him. They escaped, and they were the previous guards for Jabba and Bib Fortuna. They tried to escape. We've captured them. Do you want us to torture them to assert your power? He's like, no. Just show mercy to them. I'm not going to torture them. I don't torture people. It's not my bag. It's not what I do. They're just going to, be my bodyguards a little bit, even though he doesn't really need bodyguards, because, come on, he's awesome. But the point is, he shows them mercy. He kind of treats them more or less as equals, sort of, to the point where he doesn't even really let them carry him to town on a throne. He takes the time to walk all the way there, like the common folk. So they're doing a really good job of making the guy who froze Han Solo in carbonite a somewhat more likable character. And he also has a really good dynamic with Fennec Shand. Shand's a bit familiar with the crime life of Tatooine and sort of the way things work, as she puts, the way things work. Bubba's like, oh no, don't clean my helmet. I don't need that. Oh no, I'm not going to go to town on a throne. I'm not going to carry to town. There's no, you have to do that. That's the way things work around here. You need to assert your power. And he tells her, no, I'm not going to do any of that, because that may be the way things work, but that's not the way that I work. And even though she's essentially advisor to the king, basically, because Boba Fett's basically the king of Tatooine now, she's basically his advisor, he's not even taking her advice. That's kind of a good dynamic, how she's a little bit annoyed with him. He's kind of got his own set of rules. And they wrote both of these characters very well. And the action is also fantastic. This episode was directed by Robert Rodriguez, who did Alita Battle Angel and a few episodes of The Mandalorian, among some other stuff. And the action is very well directed. Very fast-paced parkour, very exciting shootouts, and an awesome third-act action sequence where it's basically bull riding, but in space. And man, the design of that alien that he tames, that was wildly creative. Wildly creative alien. It feels very classic Star Wars. I loved the design of that alien. It was fantastic. This feels very much like classic Star Wars, and so far I think it's a fantastically written show. I cannot wait for next week. So let me know your thoughts on the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and what are you looking forward to? Oh, and what I think that eventually, I don't think this is very likely, because everyone's kind of forgotten about the Clone Wars movie, but Jabba has a son, and, that's in Clone Wars, in the Clone Wars movie, and that son is only in that one episode, and maybe a couple other ones, and he never shows up again. And so now that Jabba's dead, do you think maybe Rada's sort of become the crime lord? Do you think Rada's going to show up as an adult now? Is Boba going to fight Rada? I don't know. I want to see that. Maybe we'll even get to see Cad Bane in a flashback. We get to see maybe how Boba Fett killed Cad Bane. We'll see. I don't know. That's my wish list. I don't know. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to get mad. I'm just going to let the show play out. But if I were in this room, that's what I would do. So let me know your thoughts on the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett.